to understand how to leverage and work with that. And then of course we've got the traditional reseller. 3 years ago I perhaps thought maybe the traditional reseller is going to struggle. Maybe all of the business will start to go towards the service provider. I'm not so convinced anymore, because I think the resellers have got the option now to resell cloud services, and let's not forget that they have for many years dominated the end user landscape with some very good customer relationships that are very difficult to prize away, and they will want to protect them. So if you throw that into the mix with software companies moving to SaaS, we have a situation where it's actually really complicated now. And one of the complications is nobody really understands what everybody does. Everybody is trying to sell to everybody. Service providers have been seen as customers. They've been seen as an opportunity to sell technology to, rather than sell with. So we have vendors selling to service providers, resellers selling to service providers, distributors in the middle, telcos not really clear where they sit. Everybody a little bit confused. And then if you add to that the complication of monthly, quarterly, periodic billing, you have some fairly significant contractual process challenges in maintaining the traditional channels we know it. And it makes it really hard for salespeople to work out their commission, which I can tell you is probably one of the biggest challenges in the industry right now. So it is complicated, but I believe personally, based on a lot of discussion in the market, that it is now starting to polarize. I am absolutely convinced that we will see order coming back into this marketplace, and on that basis I think it's very important that people understand specifically where they sit in this new world order. What this diagram is saying, that I believe that on the left hand side we will see the emergence of the true vendors, the originators, the core developers of technologies, who will be looking for routes to market for their technologies as ever. And on the right hand side we have the emerging channel. And I felt for a couple of years there was some confusion. Was a service provider, was a big hosting company, was it an originator or is it a route to market? And I am absolutely convinced now that the ideal positioning for a service provider is to be facing the end user as an IT solutions provider, using their infrastructure as a means of leveraging the off-premise hybrid opportunity, which places the service provider in competition or alongside the traditional reseller in targeting end user wallet. I think this is a short-term challenge because some people sit either side of this divide, and I think that's perfectly possible going forward, but it would require a highly differentiated strategy. On the left-hand side, as an originator, it will become vital to establish clear programs, routes to market, and base principles of how to engage with a channel partner to the end user. And on the right-hand side, it will become essential for these players to understand the priorities around end-user acquisition, support and retention. But I am very convinced that this polarization is starting to happen, and that we're beginning to see a maturing of the channel marketplace. So the rest of this presentation, just to think about the implications of that. One of the questions is, well, how's this all going to work? It's a complex marketplace. As ever, we've got this traditional challenge of, how can a channel partner engage with complex large vendors and multiple vendors? How can vendors engage with the channel? So we believe that actually the distributor, and many of you probably view a distributor as a place to go and buy product, a place to call and acquire product at a good price. But for many, many years, organisations like ours and some of our big competitors have been delivering significant amounts of value in assisting vendors to work with channel partners and channel partners to leverage the vendor environment with some resources. So I just want to talk about, well, if distributors will sit in the middle, what possible value can they add in this developing, polarised world that we see emerging? I'd like to start with what are the actual challenges of a service provider business? I've used the phrase beyond the glamour. Frankly, you guys in the service provider community, you've been the rock stars of the industry for the last couple of years. Everybody wants to be your friend. Everybody's been highly concerned that you guys are going to dominate the industry. They want a share of your end user wallet. So there's been a huge amount of focus, but the reality is, when you strip away all of the discussion and the hype around cloud, as Peter said, you are fundamentally IT solutions providers, and you face all of the same challenges, and maybe more challenges than the traditional reselling solution provider. You've got significant financial challenges to build these infrastructures and pay for them before you acquire the customer revenues. You've got massive complications in just targeting and developing new contracts and new customers. Huge implications of maintaining SLA, integrating complex products and technologies, and thinking about who your competition and who your partner base is going to be. All things that just suck overhead and resources out of a business when you should be focused on the main thing, which is your end customer and your revenue generating base. So I've been to talk to lots and lots of service providers in the last year just to find out what does a service provider actually want. And I boiled it down to, there are three very simple things that a distributor with our vendor partners needs to bring. I believe that if we come and talk to service providers, we should be talking about how we can help develop your business, generate leads and opportunities. How can we financially support your businesses in the face of the immense challenges that you have in this modern world of difficult funding? And finally, what can we bring to the table beyond just sell product? How can the channel provide you with architectural enhancements, new services and new opportunities to resell, on the basis that if you own the end customer within your data center or at the end of a telecommunications link, how can we jointly exploit that to sell more and more and more? And we believe that by focusing on these three areas, we can become a legitimate partner for your business. We've been doing this for years and years, building small resellers into large resellers, running marketing campaigns, leveraging vendor funds, managing events, driving dedicated campaigns, providing marketing resource. We've been funding huge parts of the channel. Arrow is a $25 billion organisation worldwide. We've got significant financial resources, the ability to offer extended credit and so on. This is simply not available to service providers easily in the marketplace. And finally, many times I've spoken to a service provider who said, look, we're really technical guys. We just don't need the help of a distributor on technical issues. And we respect that. But then I turn to these guys and say, but if I could introduce you to one of the senior storage experts in our business, or one of the senior storage experts on data management within NetApp or our other vendors, would that be of value of you to have that opportunity to speak with these technical experts on server, on virtualization, on storage, and on security? Because these people are basically free if you partner with us. So why would you not want to take advantage of some of the world's largest organizations and the world's experts in very specific areas that affect your business? So collectively, I would ask you to start thinking about distribution and vendors, not as somewhere that you buy product, not as organizations who simply want to sell you something, but more importantly, an opportunity to partner with large, very well-financed organizations who can bring value in these three crucial areas. So the hard truth, guys, as a service provider is, for many years, and I was the chief operating officer of a large service provider in the UK for 4 or 5 years, we always used to talk about our data center. We were very proud of our data center, the size of our estate, the fail-safe, the backup systems. But the reality is that's a done deal. That's not the thing that wins the end user. The end user is interested in solutions. in the strength of your business, the viability of your partnerships, the commercial realities of how you transact business. And if you're a really sensible business and a service provider, you'll think about leveraging these massive partnerships that are available and harnessing those partnerships before they potentially become competition. So my premise is that your businesses are maturing now along with the cloud and hybrid model, and we jointly need to go and exploit the end user's need for viable, commercial, resilient and profitable solutions. Just as one quick example, I'm very conscious of the keynote, I don't want to sell Arrow, but we spent a lot of time looking at one particular issue, was the issue of managing supplier licensing. It's a massive issue for everybody in the industry, incredibly complex, and we put together a very sophisticated tool that allows the service providers to manage all this. I don't want to go into this now, but I would encourage you to come along to the NetApp and Arrow booth and just talk to us, because I think this is a very specific example of distribution value add in conjunction with the vendor community to make your life easier. So, just to finish, I've used the phrase good time to reinvent yourself and your position. You know, we totally respect the achievements of the community so far. We understand the investments that have been made, we understand the complexity of your business. But my view is it's time to step back and think about what your position is in the industry and how to maximise and leverage that. And we're saying to the vendor community, guys, it's time to move away from product and provide programs that address the needs of the service provider community to make it easy to leverage your technologies. We as distributors understand just having a guy answering questions about the product is not enough. We have to engage our value in a way that supports your business. But you guys have to want that. You have to ask for that before someone else does. And I have to say that if I was running a service provider, I must stress I've done this for 6 years, the focus has to be on the end user. The currency in this marketplace going forward is your end user contracts. Your business is the end user contracts, and your currency and leverage of the channel depends on how many of those contracts you've got. That has to be the primary focus. You have to create higher value solutions and move beyond the basic hosting solutions that we've got now. The end user is looking for IT solutions. And finally, we know that you want to build your own solutions to retain the IP and the value, but it is possible to leverage your customer base by reselling complementary solutions. So I would ask you to examine this in the commercial realities of how the market is emerging and how the businesses are developing. So I hope that's been food for thought. Thanks to Peter for supporting this, and if you have any questions, sorry Peter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was a great perspective. Thank you very much. So the reinvent was really the keyword for me at the end, which resonates very well with me. So really reinventing what we are proving to do for our end customers. And I'm very happy to see you at our booth, also at